I, Lamin Gano,
I, Lamin Gano,
do swear that
do swear that
I'll speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me Allah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gano. Please, you may be seated.
Good afternoon, Council.
Welcome to the TRRC. Before I commence, Mr. Gano, I just wish to remind you that you've just taken an oath to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. You are expected to keep that oath, and it is a criminal offense under the laws of this country to lie under oath. It is also an offense to provide false or misleading information to the TRRC. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir, Council.
Thank you very much. Before I start my questioning, I just want to give you a roadmap of what is expected of you this afternoon. We want you to give us a brief description of your biographical information, and then to provide evidence on your role as ADC to President Jammeh, the things that you witnessed in the Presidential Alternative Treatment Program, the PATP, especially Jammeh's claim to have the cure for high blood pressure, asthma, and HIV/AIDS. We may also briefly look into his treatment of people claimed to be possessed by jinns. We would also discuss your impressions about these treatments or the claim of Jammeh that he could cure these diseases. And our concentration would be about the HIV/AIDS treatment. You may, if you wish, talk about the sources of his medicine or statements about the sources of his medicine, the experience you had testing some of the medicine, the recommendations you made for people you know to go through the treatment, and his approach to this treatment, how he treated different people, and the kinds of information they were allowed to be privy to. The issue of witchcraft, and so forth. And at the end of the day, we would want to know whether he was a miraculous healer or he was a quack or a charlatan. So, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir, Council.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gano, could you kindly tell us your full names, please?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. My name is Lamin Gano, Council.
Which setting advise you to do that? No, that's just a joke to lighten up the moment. Yeah. But Mr. Gano, yes, prayers are always good. Prayers are always good. Please proceed, please. Give us your full names and your biographical information.
My name is Lamin Gano. I was born on the 7th of January, 1973 at Sukuta, Kombo North. The first education I attended when I was at the kindergarten stage.
Could you, perhaps maybe we can interpose some local language as interpretation so that those at home would hear the testimony. Okay. Which local language would you prefer? I think we have in the booth already Mandinka interpreters. Would you accept we do Mandinka interpretation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's interpose Mandinka interpretation.
Okay.
Right. You continue to speak in English,
okay,
but you would allow the interpreters to interpret in Mandinka.
Okay.
But then you would have to
slow down.
Slow it down a little bit, okay, so that the interpreters would be able to interpret what you have to say. You don't want your story most of your story to be lost in translation.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. As I said at the beginning, my name is Lamin Gano. I was born on the 7th of January, 1973.
January 1973.
Mr. Gano, I see that you have a revised statement which you have signed. And on that document, we have your date of birth as 1983.
1983
I just wish to bring this to your attention. So it is 1973, so
yes,
we have to correct that.
Yes, 83 was an error.
All right, please proceed.
Okay. Yeah, at Sukuta, Combo North. My first school was a madrasa, was an Arabic school. Just about 100 meters from the Sukuta Cinema Hall, Chamkunda. Until when I got to the age of 8 years in 1981, I was enrolled at Sukuta Primary School. 6 years later, in 1987, I proceeded to Nusrat High School. And then in 1992, I again proceeded to Gambia High School to do my advanced level. From there, I went into photography and freelance reporting. From May 1994 to December 1995. December 1995, I was appointed at the RVTH, sorry, former Royal Victoria Hospital.
December 1995, Royal Victoria Hospital.
As a pharmacy technician in training.
Pharmacy
Yeah, with the aim of proceeding to Ghana to study pharmacology. About 13 months later, there was an advertisement for officer cadet selection in armed forces.
And which year was this?
This was in 1997, January. By then I was already bored at the hospital. So I immediately tendered my resignation. I gave them 1 month notice from January to February.
Although
the selection was supposed to be in March. I remembered my mom telling me, why don't you wait until when you succeed before you leave your former job? I told her I want to succeed. I want to go into this selection with a wholehearted, commitment. I don't want to leave any room for doubt or for turning back.
Akai lafta dun nañu do koto nin hakilo ni jiko ni tama malla fi ngakutun ko mameya lonko asike fula koti.
So later on, I participated in the cadet selection board. And I succeeded. I came second position overall. And on the 1st of May, we were officially appointed as officer cadets of the Gambia Armed Forces.
Of
which year?
1997. 1st of May 1997.
And what did you do after that?
We were sent to the Gambia Armed Forces Training School for basic military training.
Yenki Gambia High School Purkata Gambia National Army Purkata Sojaro Laubunda Karanje.
And already as cadet officers.
Officer cadet.
Officer cadet loyalty.
Until August, we graduated.
For August,
since there is no position for an officer cadet,
in the
normal military orbit, that's the order of battle, we were sent to the training school while we await our formal training as military officers into foreign countries. My turn came in 1998 September.
September 1998.
I was sent to Nigeria at the Nigerian Defense Academy.
Nigeria la kanta anintanka karambumba nyinto.
Do my basic officer training.
Purkata officer ya doku karamulaji.
This lasted for 1 year. I came back to the Gambia in 1999 in September.
Waketa sanji kilinati inseta na Gambia 1999 September karukono.
With a commission from a cadet to a second lieutenant.
Alungam makamo mensotoje wolem second lieutenant palaso karamunyum bundala.
When I returned to the Gambia, I was posted at the Armed Forces Defense Headquarters. As the public relations officer or the military spokesman of the Gambia Armed Forces. I stayed in that role until July 2002. Again, I was bored in the office. So I applied to the Chief of Defense Staff at that time, Colonel Babukar Jata, to transfer me to the infantry units.
Did you find infantry work more exciting?
Absolutely.
More adrenaline pumping than speaking for the army?
Infantry
This was approved and I was posted at the 1 Infantry Battalion.
1 Infantry Battalion.
Then I asked the operations officer, the former Captain Peter Singate, why 1 Infantry Battalion?
Captain Peter Singate Infantry Battalion.
He said because of my height and my size, I'll be very good as a drill, so I'll be good as a ceremonial officer.
Ako katu mbalo aninalo mensi woto abe betalan to le ngatara woto pour nimbe fintila sojaro la manguluto.
Because it was the 1 Infantry Battalion that provides parades for the president whenever he's traveling in and out of the country.
Katu 1 Infantry Battalion wala ka bunya lo ke president liye ikafome parade ning misali kama betamala ka finti banko kan aninka seinam banko kan.
Where was 1 Infantry Battalion located?
It was at the Yundum Barracks.
Council kai 1 Infantry Battalion be siri numunto sedo kai benu Yundum Barracks.
Mr. Gano, allow for a brief 3 seconds between our speeches so that they would not overlap. Proceed, please.
I did not want to be a ceremonial officer, no, an office officer or a staff officer. I wanted to be in the infantry, so I rebelled against that idea.
Mr. Gano, considering that these testimonies are listened to by a good cross-section of Gambian society, perhaps it is important that we now and again flag certain important values. Is it really normal for junior officers to rebel against instructions or orders given by their seniors?
Council kaya ngin dum kra jube nga abonyoto fodum nyimunyan tolete puru dindung lu sojar bundala yin nyanto sotale kabalang ila kebal la kangola utumo.
Rebel is a wrong choice of word.
Ako kafu rebel amunta wo amang nyan nakela.
Please use a more acceptable language.
Council kai wato fem for mensike kuti sementa.
You can raise a concern on issues that affect you as a military officer.
Isi kuolu ulindi nole me yalon ko ifawla kulong wati lafta falingula dame ni ibe wo makamu to sojar yala.
So in this case, what did you do? Did you rebel, quote unquote, against the orders, or did you express your concerns and made suggestions as to what you thought was most appropriate under the circumstance?
Yes, I walked to the office of
yemuneke purila o balanda ka fintindi nyin kamala ye o balanda me yitandi fo isa tamandi lo puru itelafta tala da min fo so bundadila.
I just walked to the office of the Chief of Defense Staff, Colonel Babukar Jatta.
Kata amana kata Chief of Defense Staff la officer to ka fume Colonel Babukar Jatta.
I told him my mind, and then he approved for me to go to Farafenye, the 2nd Infantry Battalion.
Nangani yo fae alana take asonta bitun akunata Farafenye wala Infantry Battalion flanja moti meni alon ko tumul be Farafenye.
And what was your role in Farafenye?
Council ka ila lodula mu munetunum Farafenye.
I didn't get exactly what I wanted by going to Farafenye.
Ako alafta men na fam ama soto de ala Farafenye tato.
My aim was to be appointed as a platoon commander and be posted to either Kudang or Basse.
Kala ngani yo munyele tunum purisa ke platoon commander wala mfanna nyatonko purisa samba Kudang wala Basse.
But unfortunately, I was appointed as a battalion adjutant and posted at the battalion headquarters.
Bidu inatata ka ke battalion adjutant wala battalion la dukula me ya long kwa stala kunna inata sindi battalion dinkira nyimfangle tuje.
And to which battalion were you posted this time around?
Second Infantry Battalion in Farafenye.
Council Kai Battalion Juma ko battalion Fulanja Mbembe Farafenye ji.
How many battalions did you have at this stage?
Council Kai Battalion jelle be kering sojar bunda la Tembo.
There were about 4 battalions.
Se loko tumo battalion nani le bije.
Were they of real battalion size, or were they just called battalions?
Some were even more than the size of a battalion. Yeah, more or less, they were all of the battalion size.
Akaya wotumo battalion ulfaida ibe tembetale yiriko la karola ibe kanyantale.
Where were they located?
One was at the State Guard in Banjul, at
the State Guards Banjul,
the State House.
State House Fongoto.
Was that also partly housed or hosted at Fajara Barracks?
Fofana yes, Fofana wotumo ibe sirin Fajara Barracks leban.
No, they were either at Banjul, at the State House, or at Kanilai.
Sedo ko hani dol katara Banjul wala yetara Kanilai.
And that would be the State Guards Battalion, right?
Well, State Guard la Battalion at the 4.
That's correct, Council.
Akotonyala.
Proceed, please.
Council
The second one was at Fajara.
Flanjang nyinkola benu Fajara.
And then the other one was at the Yundum.
Do benu Yundum.
And the 4th one in Farafenye.
Nani njang be Farafenye.
Okay. So you became adjutant at Farafenye Barracks?
Munda ina na adjutantly tutumala mena benu Farafenye.
For how long?
Oh, so what juma?
I was a battalion adjutant from July 2002 until December 2003.
Did you get bored again?
Akaketa adjutant to 2002 kata for 2003.
Exactly. After 18 months, I was bored again, and then I moved on.
And this time?
Ako sanjikilin kari woro kola bata anasita koteke dala lafta ka saun kaboji.
And then this time around, what became your new endeavor?
I was sent to Sierra Leone as a United Nations peacekeeper.
Ako ya ke Sierra Leone atata Sierra Leone kake United Nations la kaira sabatindi latije.
With UNAMSIL?
Ani UNAMSIMBA?
It's correct, Council.
Tonyala.
And for how long did you serve with UNAMSIL?
Ako kartan nimfula yole ke UNAMSIL.
December 2003.
2003 kata December 2003. 2004.
Okay. And what did you do after that?
When I returned, I was man again.
Birin saytana yen samba sojar korda ba nyum fangoto ko ndelam sojarul la kumalati koteke.
I did that for 6 months until July
Okay, Kariworo, Hanfo July 2004.
And I was sent to Ghana to do my young officers course.
Natanki Ghana purkata funding ke nyaton ko la kram kije.
This was a 6-month course from July 2005 to December.
Oh, the kabo July 2004 kata 4.
I came back in January 2006. I was again returned to the defense headquarters as the military spokesman.
Akubira muruta na January ya murundi kota ke sojar korda ba yendo hanimbi atolon sojarul la kumalati.
You loved that job or that job loved you. You served in that capacity 3 times.
Absolutely.
I
think it was the job that loves me. I really wanted to be in the field.
Ako ayam ni do ko nyinne ate kan katu ate lefta num tarala do ko la keno le kono.
And you were there for another 6 months. And what happened after that?
Yes, I was there until December 2006. When
Akabije for December 2006.
Then I was appointed as the ADC to President.
The crux of your testimony really would center on this particular issue, the time you served at ADC, as ADC. But continue to tell us about your career, and then we'll come back to this point.
I served as the ADC from December 2006 to May 2008.
Kata ADC tekabo December 2006 kata
that would be 18 months, right?
Approximately.
And then what happened after that?
I was returned to the headquarters for 4 months. Because while I was the ADC to Jame, I was awarded a scholarship to do my master's in the UK.
Wato membe ADC ala Jame bala ye makamu dina pungata scholarship makamu karang pungata karangula America.
Did you by any chance do a bachelor's?
No, I
did not.
What was the basis for your admission to do master's?
It was based on my series of military courses as well as my peacekeeping experience.
Ya la na sojari karamul le kamunu bulata nyonoma aninga londo men soto sojari ya duku tamandoto.
Proceed, please.
So between May to September, before I proceeded to the UK, I was back at the defense headquarters, again as the military spokesman.
Meni September tema kotake ye murundi sojar kurda bato kotake kanke kumalati sojar bundala.
During those 4 months, I founded the first edition of the Armed Forces magazine called Ahua.
Wo kari ngano wiche kono ntele nga sojaro la kibar kaito bondi menketa sinya foloti ikafume Ahua.
From September 2008 to January 2010 was the duration of my master's degree.
Kabo September 2008 kata hanfo December 2010 wala kata na
December or January?
January kata hanfo 2010 wala kata na masters karamo wichi otino.
I returned back to the Gambia in January 2010.
What did you study?
Gambia 2010.
I studied African peace and conflict studies.
Kansul kaya yamune kara kaya mo findu la fitina kulu anin kairo sabatini nyale kara.
Which uni?
It was called the University of Bradford.
Akwe kafole University of Bradford.
And I'm proud to add that I had a master's with a merit.
We are not surprised at all. Gambians perform very well when they go abroad. Proceed, please.
Yeah. So when I returned in January 2010, I was posted at the defense headquarters again.
January 2010. Yeah, samba soldier korda bal to koteke.
This time around, not as the military spokesman, but as the military assistant to the Chief of Defense Staff.
At
what rank?
Makama Juma.
By then I was a major. I was military assistant to the Chief of Defense Staff as well as the procurement officer for the armed forces.
Akatelom nyatum ko nolan ko baro tembo fanan ateleketa kulu sandirlati aninka kulu nyini sojar bundala sola kolto.
I did that for only 6 months and I was sent to Nigeria.
Akaya kariworo lekeuto inataki kotake kata Nigeria.
The Command and Staff College.
Ila nyatum ko ni dokulala karambungo to college nyinto je.
To do another military course.
Purkata sojari londi karamdo fanan kije.
I returned to the Gambia in January 2011.
Kamrutanan Gambia January 2011.
From January 2011 to November 2011, I was at the headquarters again.
Kokabu January 2011 kata hanfo December 2011 kotake abeje sojar kordal tunu.
As the military assistant to the Chief of Defense Staff, as well as the military spokesman again.
Atelebe sojar nyaton ko nyinno mabari hanimbi atelem kotake kumalati yo palaso murundi akan.
November 2011.
Kon November 2011.
I was sent to Darfur as a military staff officer.
Ya ki Darfur kake sojar du kulal fanal nyaton koti.
And I was appointed there as the disarmament, the demobilization and reintegration.
Aso mendi ala woto wolem ka jorangulu bondi kele lalu bulu anim fana ibe kalo dimba duben na nyamin yo palaso le diala je.
I returned to the Gambia in January 2013.
Amurutanan Gambia January 2013.
I was appointed as the Inspector General of the Gambia Armed Forces.
Tumolo ya tombon kake Inspector General ti Gambia la sojar bundalu kun.
At what rank?
I was a Lieutenant Colonel.
Ako tumo Lieutenant Colonel wole makamu babulu.
I did that for only 5 months until May 2013.
Akaya karlu le from May 2013.
Then I tendered my resignation from the Gambia Armed Forces.
Ako natala fonyo kaito safe kabe dahala kabu Gambia la sojar bundal.
This must be one of the first or one of the few resignations from the army by a very senior officer.
Ansu ka nyine bekela mo folodi kabo soyar kundaro makamo la karota na nkewala makamo la ba maribulu ane fonyo sojar kundaro.
No senior officer had ever resigned before.
Ako nyaton kaman soto meyo makamo soto memnene ifonyo janninte bakela.
Were you arrested, detained, tortured for resigning?
Inara ne mudala banke muda ke bulo le kan ke tilimbali afana fo dallo kam nyinkam mala ko e fonyo menke ba.
Fortunately, I was not. However,
akoto nyala ala la kanto kan wo mankenna.
Staff at the State House who was present when President Jammeh was approving my resignation
Kula soto ntamembe no State House bring President Jammeh be sonna ntelan dahala.
Told me that Jammeh say is giving you only 3 months, you will come back and beg him for a job.
Ako Jammeh nyine foko abe karisabale dilela ibe murula na mpurkana dani pura doko dila koteke.
That's quite an interesting statement to make, but nothing at all happened to you for resigning.
Unyabo warta bagar bari kuman kela dalilo me asawaro men itata ye fonyo nyindo kola.
Absolutely nothing.
Akoto nyala femfe mankenna.
In fact, your resignation was approved by Jammeh, wasn't it?
Ila fonyo nyi ya Jammeh fonle sonda la sign.
Sedo ko ha.
And you have since moved on to other things.
Yes, sir, Council.
An kabi itata fanna doldo.
You had a good relationship with Jammeh, didn't you?
Council
Hada maya kende bala soto ini ya Jammeh foto nyande.
A very, very good one.
Ako chokinyo la kende ba.
I will underline those words. Very, very good one. And in fact, as ADC, you would have a close relationship with the president.
Kake ADC di goto abe kala nyine ko hada maya kende bala be ning ya Jammeh tema fo.
Proceed, please.
Yes, close as far as our working relationship is concerned.
Ako ha nkatatanyo la bari ubebe dendin na duku Kenya ni ngasamba nyale.
Let me just take you back a little bit. What you said earlier escaped me. You said, fortunately, I was not tortured. What do you mean by that?
Ila okoto muneti kafoko ala de maro kande imande lipa okoto muneti.
When I submitted my resignation on the 1st of May, it took until July the 2nd before I got the approval.
It does not
take that long.
But it wasn't July 22nd, it was July 2nd.
July 2nd.
Good. And why do you say, or did you say, fortunately, you were not tortured? Why that language? You're very eloquent in English. You choose your words very, very carefully. Why do you say, fortunately, you were not tortured?
Because
during that period, from the submission of my resignation to the approval, I was like getting a lot of messages from my colleagues, some of whom are senior officers in the Gambia Armed Forces.
Ako kabring ayala daha letero dundi fo janni wato men atebala jabiri letero sotonna aka chokinyolo soto aka kumolu moyi aka kumolu soto aka funyo molu bulu men yalon ko lebe do ko la ni menu tartanyo kan do ko la nungo tembo
trying to persuade me to withdraw my resignation.
Be lafidi nyina num pour kate sondi ay daha men ngani ya prasio baya ay murunan do ko
or to travel out of the country and send my resignation from outside.
Pour asitama fang ay banko bula ay la daha letero nyin kilan kabo banko e bantala.
Why were they suggesting that?
I think it's based on their knowledge of the temperament of Jammeh, his unpredictability.
Namira etelula Jammeh longo kumu façon mem wati anala jusobe no nyamin ta pour ko kala woni nyam.
Mike Council.
Thank you very much. His temperament and unpredictability, those are the words you use.
Yep. Yes, sir, Council.
Council kaenne jusobe no nyamin animu buka fono sining abenyine kala. Sedo kai ha.
These are things you would know about, considering you served as his ADC for 18 months.
Yes, sir,
Council. So we would come back to these things. And did they say any other reason why they wanted you to go outside and resign from outside?
You know, more for in Arana Dalila Kotendo Dila Labang, Maya Sabu, Yo Miro Dila Puru, Yefi Banco Bantala, Nifta Banco Bandala, Sinila letter Daha for Ninkinang.
This was the first time in the history of the Gambia Armed Forces it was happening.
Nina musinya follow te Gambia la tariko kono sojaro la karola purunyaton ko membe ko plus fasomoto ayeda.
So it could really go anyway.
Andung asikeno le nyonyandi nyama.
And they were concerned about my safety and security as well.
Wolu ibe dewundinu nte fonga kanto nin tankada dalilo lela.
Could you elucidate this? Could you break it down so we understand what the environment was like and how your resignation could have been perceived or dealt with?
First in Kuni, so if I have a case no more than about Molialo call Belari Nunyam and Banco Kanya, but if I be a case Bonino Mole Notalaba.
Again, it's really based on the unpredictability of President Jammeh.
Ubebelaring Puleka Memo President Jammeh Jiko Kenya to Wairi Mobukatu long singing Abemenkala.
Would have seen the resignation anyhow.
Asio daha jeno le nyaunyandi nyama.
Like?
Nyadi.
He could have approved it like the way he did it if he was in his good mood.
Asisono le kata kasonala natara abe ataranya nyima kono.
But if he was in a serious mood, it could have been totally different.
But nabe serious jiko kono asikeno kudoti.
That's a good one. We would not take offense. And on, if his serious mood was on, what kind of action or reaction did you expect he would make?
He had all the options. He could have disapproved my resignation and then maybe followed the kind of a witch hunting or trying to arrest or to detain or whatever.
Ning ayatara abe nyasa ngaro nyalema. Asa atanu le nyonyandi nyama wala mnyinti ay balang nadahala wala ay noma.
Why was it expected that he would behave?
Because over the time, we've all witnessed, his erratic decisions and actions. We've all witnessed those kind of things in the past. Isn't that really putting it mildly? It wasn't just erratic behavior. You're talking about
fo manke manya dingol la nyantol le tinya e bulu manke nyantol le tinya.
I wouldn't know the context of other people who had those kind of experiences with him, but for me, my experience with him, it never went that way. So personally, I cannot say that, that I cannot associate that thing to him because he has never,
Ndeta fono la alaw sangara manya lu Benjamin ka anin dolu tambita silo menna ka to ndena ate tema wo sangara kulu façon lu men mandu na tema wala na ndeta fono la ko alawa sangaro beten wala ay nyinni asinyi nyine keno amo kentela atambita nin dole tema men mankentete.
Mr. Gano, you sugarcoating it now, aren't you?
Okay, Mr. Gano, iba kunyi saying, iba talaka ne saying. Iba nyandikan.
People's situations are different.
Mola Kenya lufatatale.
Mr. Gano, I'm not talking about your specific situation. We are talking about Jame's personality, his character. From your own words, he was unpredictable. He was erratic. He could have had you arrested even though that was illegal. People were scared or afraid for your safety. Doesn't that disclose a propensity on the part of Jame to violate the rights of Gambians? I'm not saying Lamin Gano. I'm talking about Gambians in general.
But the fact that he did not do that to me, answer the question. The question is not specific to you. Remember, you are under oath. You were a senior officer of the Gambia National Army. The rank of a lieutenant colonel. One step from a general. We expect you to be absolutely honest. That is our expectation. It's the minimum we can ask of a person of your stature. You told the commission this guy was erratic. He was unpredictable. In fact, in your statement, you said today he could be an angel, the next day he could be something else. And that something else is he could be the devil, isn't it? Isn't it? Actually, I was like 2 ranks away from a brigadier general, first of all.
Well,
When it comes to his other moods and his other relationship with people, I don't know what triggered those things. There might be something about those people that triggered whatever reactions. The fact that I don't know, and I was not there, I don't know what is transpiring underneath. I cannot say that, that is what he is. I can only judge him based on my personal experience with him.
Ako anim modolu tema sangaro men atambitani modolu tema nte fen fono lawto wayre amo kentela ayo ke modolle ase keno kulle betama kan duma nte mammello mambo men kalama barbitu wayre ama atilindela wala nante to fono la.
But you are drifting further from the truth, Mr. Gano. Your knowledge of a person is not limited to your personal interaction with that person, is it? You can know about a person from that person's interactions with other people. True or false?
That's right.
In fact, you said that Jame was temperamental. You said he was erratic. You said he was unpredictable. Sometimes he is an angel, and he was something else. I will fill in the blanks. When we say he is today a devil, the next day he is something else. By that we mean he is the devil. And that is exactly what you meant. True or false?
Being erratic and unpredictable, it can be 2 ways. It can be erratic and unpredictable in a good way.
Mr. Gano, these are not positive characteristics, are they? I don't know whether the Mandinka interpretation is correct, but these are not attributes that people are praised for, being erratic. These are not attributes that anybody would hail in any person, isn't it? In fact, these are negative attributes, aren't they?
They are, but we all have them as human beings.
We are not talking about we. We're not talking about we. We are talking about Jame. These are your own words. You have described him as something opposite of the angel, didn't you? In fact, that means he is the devil sometimes. I see you shaking your head. Could you indicate a yes or a no?
Yes, based on the testimonies I have heard here, I can come to that conclusion, yes.
But not only that, you had more intimate interactions with Jame, being with him almost on a daily basis for 18 months. You knew him. He was the devil sometimes. That is your testimony.
Will it surprise you if I tell you that during the 18 months I served with him, he was more
to you?
To me, and
yes.
Based on my interactions with him?
Yes, to you.
ala kuolu beteata le ko malaiko be nyam.
But to use your own word again, fortunately, this is not about you.
But pour ki ifon wala kuma kangoto.
This is about other vulnerable members of our society.
Nyumange ifon kunni wala kuote nyumu modol la kuote me alon ka fotam abotam fangola jamara hamano le kono.
And how he treated them.
Andu ngayo kuolta nyame.
And that is why
you
said sometimes he was the devil. The record does not show nodding. Say yes or no.
Yes, but I came to that conclusion after hearing the series of testimonies on this TRRC. I came to the conclusion that yes, sometimes he was really, something else.
Ako bitul afanana tala wala bila molla sede yarol moy menu fo ama wala nata aytandi ndefana ko to tonya nyim fanan malaiko kola ase keno le fendoti.
No, he is the devil sometimes. That's what you say, right?
Ansuluka iko atela mujino di waro do yola.
Unkona experience what is based of nga call men moy at the TRRC yang ha ngani conclusion also to ko hade wodaji kasi fal babulule barinte natela personal experience during the 18 months wato men nan bije amon wodaji ko itande.
Mr. Gano, thanks for interpreting that already, so we don't have to revisit it. Are you really serious?
Yes,
that the first time you realized that Jammeh was truly the devil was after hearing TRRC testimonies? That's what you're telling us?
For ita sondo wato men nam kedandirol mo TRRC nyaade no jande ilata ko yaaja mu ginol.
No.
Selo ko hani.
Incidences have happened that definitely we all know about, which we are definitely not in line with normal.
Yes, and the interpretation is suggesting jinn, and jinn can be positive, can be good. Here it would mean Satan, I suppose. Huh? Yes. So let's get that clearly.
Okay.
What I am driving at is, we want to have truthful testimony from you. Your being here would send a very good signal to members of the Gambia Armed Forces who are still wearing our uniform. The values that you saw here would be important to them.
Kansul kay mbe mayita la Gambian kulu la wolem menni ya lonko hanimbi na banko la sojar uniform wala be wolula pour isa long sojar ya amakamu abelari nyami banko kalafta o betale yitandila banko sojar wala nyintembe.
We want you to be absolutely truthful.
That
is the only interest we have. The truth and the absolute truth. You did not come to the conclusion that Jammeh was truly the devil only after TRRC. You must have known before.
Asikeno amanke ko birieti RRC la moelom inata lon ko jamme mu setanolti bari asikeno ite fango yalon ne jannibe mulu la moela menu nata TRRC.
True or false?
So nyabang fo ku soto balia.
There were incidences before even the TRRC started that we members of the armed forces and the general public were all aware about.
Wolu ketale hani jannin TRRC damu to meni alonko Jama mulu anin sojarul fulu beboto kolu kalamale men yalonko iketa.
And from those incidences you were able to draw the conclusion that this person was not a good man.
Amunda to ko ni sabati ndoro inata la lonko nyimu monke moti me alonko amanke ku mo kendoti.
Not necessarily.
Asekeno amanke nyawnya ni nyama.
But you were able to draw conclusions that he could be the devil sometimes.
I'm not sure I used the word devil. I used a serial man. Yeah, but what I mean is actually not somebody who can be, let's say, aggressive, violent, that kind of a person.
Kafoko serer keo. Bara bitu wala mintiko. Asikeno le mo sangaroti.
Mr. Gano, we have a lot of ground to cover. Let's stop dilly-dallying and call a spade a spade. When you wrote your piece, you're a very eloquent person. You have good command of the English language. You cannot turn around now and want to sugarcoat it. The truth is, you said Jame can sometimes be the devil. That's
my statement.
You just hear me out. You just admitted to that here. I filled the blanks for you and you accepted it. You said sometimes he's an angel and sometimes he's something else. Those are your exact words. And I feel that the blanks to you, that something else is the devil. And you said yes. So no amount of sugarcoating would make the devil equivalent to someone who is violent.
But
even if we were to accept that, the violence part of him, the violent character of Jame, is not something to celebrate, is it?
But counsel, look at the context. Sometimes these incidences were in relations to an attempt to overthrow him.
Were they? Were they?
Some of the incidences, witnesses have come here and they said they were part of a plan to overthrow him.
And Mr. Gano, are you a lieutenant colonel who would encourage rule of law, or are you a lieutenant colonel who would encourage violence, rule by the gun, doing everything by the power of the gun?
Council gago lieutenant colonel me maka multi me alonko ibe maralo kela loi maralo e betili nyabetil na wala bam fo kido la maralo ibe wala fasala bam fo be nyatili na wala kido la maralo.
I am on the path of peace and rule of law.
Very happy to hear that. The violence was wrong, it was unlawful. Correct?
In some cases, yes.
In every case. In every case. The extrajudicial killings were unlawful, were they not? The forced disappearances, those were unlawful. The tortures and the rapes, they were unlawful. The unfair and the unlawful dismissals, the unlawful appropriation of people's properties, that too was unlawful. And misleading people into a treatment program that was false, that too is unlawful.
Yes, if it is proven to be false, yes.
These are the things we are talking about. They are all unlawful. And they are all an attack on the rights of constitutionally guaranteed rights of the Gambian people.
Anu be mu kulle men yalon ko boy kangol le men kita molla yalon ko ila nyan tolti nyada ko men loi sembentia nyame.
Could you answer after my questions?
O esi jabiro di ngani ni ngaro di la nyame.
What was your answer?
Muna mila jabiro di.
Which question was that?
The last questions. All these
Yes.
Violations of rights of Gambian people.
Absolutely.
Be mu nyanti tinyal le men ko ya boyta ya ki Gambia non.
Can we have the answer on the record, please?
Sedo ko wolem to nya fangoti.
Good. So now let's go back to your role as ADC.
Council ka sila ngamurun koma ngata fanna la me ya wato men na imunun ADC.
What was your role?
Muna mu ila do ko wotinu.
One of the roles of an ADC is VIP protection.
Ngado ko kono kilimbije wolem ka alfa makama tiulu kanta.
Another one is to be a personal assistant to the VIP.
Do fana munyenti pour ka ke kafu mako irlati alfa nyaton ko lukang.
And any other administrative issue around the office.
Anin do ko sambanya kotangulu men ya lonko e nyanta kala office oto.
The role of an ADC starts when he steps out of his house.
ADC la do ko kadati ning amari nyaton ko nyim fintita la bunkono.
And it ends the moment he enters his house again.
Akadanda min na mari muruta na mfadunta la bunkono ADC la do la kabanjele.
Which means to say that for most of the time you worked as an ADC to Jame, you were with him every time he steps out of his house.
Wala woto wala mindi ko akoto minde wala mindi ko wato jama be wa ni ya jame findila iki ni wa ya jame ka wato be ke nyokanne ni afindita foni wato mena dundala bunkono.
Correct, Council.
And in January 2007,
January 2007,
Yaya Jammeh made an important pronouncement about treatments. Do you remember that?
Very well, Council.
Could you tell us what he said?
He convened a cabinet meeting.
Selo ko ay cabinet bengole kumandi cabinet ni moy banko alfalu kumalu ke ben nyokan.
Invited all the press, the GRTS and the others.
Ay kibar bunda lu be kumandi GRTS ani kibar bunda kotamelu.
And then made a declaration that he has got the means to treat HIV and AIDS.
Ay nyin kankula jele ko ataye fero sotole anim boro mensi HIV AIDS jar.
Mr. Witness, let's call a spade a spade.
Council ka sedo nga tonyamu tonyalti.
And let's avoid putting a spin
nga ko nyimbula puruka ko nyinta ka toramondong
to events that have taken place.
Ko la men yalon ko eketale.
Like I told you,
comme nga fo nyame,
it's already a bitter pill. Don't sugarcoat it.
ni mukule men ko ku jawla ketal don kana ko nyinta ya nyinyandi.
Say it as it is.
A fodron akere nyame.
What did Jammeh say?
Yaya Jammeh ay munefo.
He said he can treat HIV and AIDS.
Mr. Witness, did you give a statement?
Council ka sedo fo e kuma kan odila do membe safero to ba.
Did you give a statement? Mr. Gano?
Yes, I did.
Selo ba kay kuma kam safel.
And you reviewed your statement this afternoon?
Nung council ka nyintile blo nanjikira nyinda ko muru ila kuma kan ya muruta be kan ka karanku.
You in fact signed this statement just at around 2 p.m., correct? Correct?
Yes, Council.
And before signing it, you read the statement?
Yes, sir, Council.
And obviously the contents of the statement would be fresh in your mind.
Correct? Yes, sir, Council.
Could you take a look at this document? I know you have a copy. I'll give you my own copy so we will tender it. That is your statement. You acknowledge?
Yes, Council. Yes.
Can we have the interpretation?
Mr.
Mr. Chair, we would want to exhibit the statement. Mr. Gano?
Council ko kaya ko Mr. Kiaman ila dunyo kan bela fula sedo la kuma kan nyin kala fa na sede jaro kan.
I'll give you the exhibit number as soon as I get it from my colleagues. But with your permission, can I have it admitted as an exhibit?
But hanin ka bila dunyo kan Kiaman fo isi song nyin kai to tanga la fa na sede jaro kan.
Request granted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gano, you have your own copy, don't you?
Yes,
Council Mr. Gano, copy
could you go to paragraph 4?
Council ka first rabilera nani nyawro bang. Sapa nani nyawro.
Yes, I can.
Just hold a second. Okay, can you read paragraph 3, please? Read it out.
The Presidential Alternative Treatment Program began less than a month after my appointment. One day in January, the President called his cabinet members and made a pronouncement that he had discovered a cure for HIV and AIDS.
Would you stop there? This is what he said, correct?
Yes, Council.
So he did not say he had a treatment for AIDS.
Yes, discovered.
Do you agree? He said he had discovered the cure for HIV and AIDS.
Yes,
correct?
Council, correct.
Council kayako for akola ko ay londo soto landra ay sudero kele jaralo membe kala
HIV AIDS kende yandi.
Okay. Exactly. So this is, yes, and that would be on page 4 of the statement. It's paragraph 4, so the paragraph would take care of it. But it's all right, paragraph 4, page 4. So in a sense, he said this was a breakthrough. It has never happened anywhere in the world. He has the cure for HIV and AIDS.
Correct?
Can we get some assistance in the Mandinka language? Because Jaralo and Kendeyandi are different. So Jaralo may mean treatment, but Kendeyandi would mean to cure.
To cure.
Isn't that the case? So here we are talking about Kendeyandi and we are not talking about Jaralo, because Jaralo is a loose term, isn't it? Okay, let's proceed. And having said that, did he do anything about it?
Did I do anything about it?
Did he, Jame, do anything about it?
Yes, he did.
Tell us what he did.
He started the treatment right away.
Yes, proceed, please. How did he do that?
There was a kind of a hut, an enclave, just about 100 meters from his residence.
That
was the place he was using as a treatment center.
Would you describe what went on in that place as part of this treatment program?
Before actually he came out, patients were already registered. I don't know what process they went through and how they were registered.
Malo ya silo tamandi nyameng aning safero nyin keta nyameng.
They were already assembled at this treatment center.
Bari wotumo biring alungusita ye bendile ateko akajara ro kedameng.
And then the medicine was also already prepared and then brought to the treatment center.
Andu wotumo ateleka jara ro ke boro menna wotumo yo dadale hanfo ya nati o jaral dinkiratu.
So basically he will just come out and administer these medicines to the patients.
Amunta na watu sita kafindina nedron kaboro nyindi wasasa tolula.
As far as you know, what diseases did Jame claim he could cure?
Italo londoto. Ya Jame kan klaro ke kuran sifa ni jumani jumala ko ataka menjarano.
About 4.
Selo ko ay nani le fokka asimenu kende yandino.
Kindly name them, please.
Tol fo bang.
One was HIV and AIDS.
Ilmu HIV and AIDS.
The other one was hypertension or high blood pressure.
Domu yele siality.
The other one was asthma.
Domu sisality tubabul kafome asthma.
And then infertility.
Aning musolla jidi balia.
How about people who are claimed to be possessed by the devil or by jinns?
That issue emerged during the treatment of these 4 main areas.
Wo fananata funti wato men abenyinja jara rota mandikan nim fanana nula ngamen foten.
People will come to the treatment center.
Molu kana jaral dinkirato je.
Sometimes some people, when they get close to him, they will like faint or collapse.
Dolu kasoto nina ta hanfo nakita bala isiboy tumandulu isafo iketutale wala isiboy doro.
And then he will say that it's a jinn, and then he knows how to deal with the jinns.
Ate safo ko jinno lebe nyinna ndunga tayalo ne anyo jin abo jinno la ko kala nyame.
Then he will recite some verses and he will hold his Quran in his hand.
Bitungo tumolem aka ayo dolu karang asi alquranu mutabulo kono.
And then also rub some water or whatever it is.
Modola si jodo bondi wala la borolu ka ke wo molu bala.
To these patients
until
they recover and they come back to normalcy.
So it is on that basis that it is claimed that he can also treat people possessed by jinns or cure people possessed by jinns.
Correct, counsel.
And during these treatment programs, were you present?
Yes, I was present in all of them.
During the time you served as ADC?
Correct, counsel, because even after I left, the treatment still continued.
Mr. Chair, I have a stack of pictures here, which I would like to show the witness. These stacks of pictures were provided by the last witness, and we would tender them as part of the evidence of that witness. But in the meantime, I would just show them to this witness, and then we'll give you the references again later.
Council Kiama Ninara Loni said the Laboni Wole Dina, but in Belaf Medula Diamokona, but Tambinlan was said Labon, but Belafla Purka attending in Sedola, member Sirin Tempurka, Twanya and I Juve follow.
Are these pictures taken during the treatment program?
Absolutely.
Council guy for Ninara Yeta, Water Menajara in Bekerimba.
Selo Fonko Tonya Wolem.
Could you see yourself in the pictures?
Yes, sir, counsel.
Thank you very much. You may show them to the chair and to the commissioners. So, having been present during these treatment programs, you would definitely know of some of the things that happened there during the program, correct?
Yes,
counsel.
Can you describe to the commission what happened during these treatment sessions?
Isa fono commission we mune kake jaralo ni vicho nyingono mune ketaje.
For the asthma, the hypertension, and the fertility was very simple and straightforward.
Ako asthma wala msisati yele siya nyin anin kurang meyalon ko wala mu mbusola jidi baliati. Ako solo yata la keta mandi nyame.
It simply involved the drinking of some liquids that have already been prepared.
Membe to wala mdrong ye boro lu menu dadanu. Akawole chika drong kadi inimolula.
And have you ever had any experience, personal experience with this medicine?
Yes, I did. We used to drink most of those medicines that was brought to.
Selo ko ha kadundel fanglu tumanin tumam kanyim borolu fanglu minne ning ayenati.
Did it have any impact on you?
Did
it have any impact? I didn't say koliaku. Did it have an impact?
A little impact. For example, the second day after I drank it, I realized there were some black patches around my fingertips. Yeah, so
Biring aya ming asomo anata fimuluje a bulukondi numulu bala.
We even showed it to him, and they were saying that probably it is coolie and it might be coming out from my system.
Ako ayo itandi president fangolele ako kayan ko asikeno ni mukulu fetengoleti membe fintikan ijato kono.
In all honesty, was that normal?
What was normal? The marks?
Was it normal that you drink some medicine and you begin to see black spots on your fingertips?
Yeah, boro mingi ina naje fengol ka finti balo bala surfri bul konni wala bul mon singol dorande bul konni fo odal taleba.
I really don't know. I hardly get sick, mashallah. I'm not into drinking whether herbal medicine or white medicine. So I really not know whether it is normal when you take those kind of medicine. What happens?
Have you
kama long katu ate ala akai ala tendu ala sasa manfea yo adunga la nyimbori fasulu minulu fana manfea bari wala na atafono la malun dal fo mukuleti men dal takela.
Have you ever seen anything like this happen to anybody? You drink medicine and then you start to see black spots on the person's fingertips.
Sila nying fo ina fa na ina kaja ka keta modo ko tengola bang kaimboro minga ina min fem sival kana findi alangons bulkon ni
I've not been paying attention to that.
Ka selo ko amma hakilo tunu ngoto.
You've never seen it.
Ina na maji.
And it was cause for concern to you, wasn't it?
Dongule me alonko ay kule me alonko ay deunne foto nyand.
Yes, counsel.
Selo ko ha ya de hunne no.
And that is why you told him.
Wala asabu yo fa ya itandala.
Yes, counsel.
Selo ko ha.
And the response you received was suspect.
Amon jabiro e men sodabul wala nyindi ko ako ko asikeno kulu fetan wala akabe abe boro men wala asabu be findikanna.
Not really suspect.
Wala nyindi ko asikeno ay sobindi kula.
Doesn't matter to me.
Akubari manka ate soboti ka to kulo ngoti dal ama attack kumu.
But what you saw was sufficient to worry you to some extent.
Bari menja keta kulde me alonko ay sile pour me alonko abe akede abekele de
I was not worried.
Even though you're seeing black spots on your fingers.
Ano nyaanya e fem fingol je mon singol bul kon ngol bala.
It was really minor.
Selo ko mu kundin nati wala na ma de.
But you were convinced about Jame's treatment?
Not convinced. Because I'm not a beneficiary. I've not been sick. He has not treated me. So I'm not convinced. Am I in doubt whether it is working or it does not work?
You were at least convinced enough to recommend your mom and cousin for treatment.
Yes, I did.
isanaw anin ibama ye ni ya marodi pour fanale dabula jara ronyindo.
And what were they to be treated for?
Nyanta wulu jara la num munela
Hypertension.
selo ko yelesia.
Both of them had hypertension.
Both of them.
Ansul kaya munta mo fulo be yelesia le soto selo ko hay mo fulo be yelesia.
Did they do the treatment?
Ijara lo nyin kele bang.
They did. It was just you drink it once, and he said that is it. You don't need to take it again.
Akoy dunta jara rojin kono le yeboro min sinya killing akoy kanyanta la manjare aliyasa inkanta ko take.
So, and your people did as were instructed.
Yes, they took the medicine. You actually take it in his presence.
And he claimed you drink one bottle or one glass, you are cured of hypertension.
For good.
That is what he said.
Yep.
And you believed him.
And
At that time, I had no reason to doubt him.
And your mother also believed him.
They did.
And your cousin also believed him. They drank the concoction.
They did.
Is your mom free of hypertension?
Both of them are still alive and they are still hypertensive. In fact, my cousin had a stroke not long ago because of this hypertensive.
Was Jame truthful to them or did Jame lie to them?
Yeah, council Jame
I will say his medicine, hypertensive medicine, did not work.
That is not the answer to my question. Did Yaya Jame tell them the truth or did Yaya Jame lie to them?
I will say he failed them.
You see, Mr. Witness, I would not be tired. I will ask my question and you will answer it. Did he tell them the truth or did he lie to them?
Counsel, if I promised you a service and I fail, and the service is failed, I may not necessarily have lied to you. Perhaps when I was promising you those services, I believed that it was going to work. But after I did it failed.
It would still be a lie, whether you believed in it or not. To change the character of the information the person received. It was a lie. It was not a cure for hypertension.
Boro nyina tama balia anaketa nyaunyandi nyama kumala sutia kama musafu ko kuma soto balo wairi atayafo men kama amantama woto wala mnyintiko aifani yale foye.
I will accept, but I'll prefer to say he failed. I prefer to use the word.
Sedo kabe sonna wala le bara atela kuma kama tu atebafla le ko ala boro.
You would prefer to sugarcoat. I would prefer to call it by its right name. He lied to them. He lied to your mother. Right? He lied to your
Not necessarily. He failed them. He had the intention, or he believed that it was actually going to work. It did not work. That's the definition of a lie, then yes, I accept.
The definition of a lie is something that is not true. He told them something that was not true. Correct?
What is the definition of failure?
That's not my concern. Answer my question. We will come to the part of him failing them.
Let's
finalize this issue and move
Counsel,
on.
I agree.
He lied to them.
Yes, he did, based on that definition.
And then come the people with HIV/AIDS. He was treating these people, correct?
Correct, Counsel.
And he promised them that he was going to cure them within what period of time?
I cannot remember the exact time frame, maybe 7 days, but I really cannot remember the exact.
Mr. Witness, go back to your statement.
Council Kai said, Taylor Kumakamoto member suffering. No statement.
Didn't you say 3 days in your statement?
Faima Fuela Kumakamoto Jedo, Tilisaba Kono.
Didn't you say 3 days in your statement?
Faima Tilisaba Kono Abejara.
Paragraph is
no, I'm looking for the paragraph. Just give me a second. You said he would cure them in 3 days. But do you remember him saying he would treat them in 3 days?
He gave a time frame.
Okay, look at paragraph 18 of your statement. 18, paragraph 18. And that would be page 6. Perhaps maybe in the version you have signed, maybe that would be just a moment. Paragraph 17. Page 6. Beginning with some statement, some patients were in a very bad state when they first attended the program.
17, that's not what he said.
It starts with some patients were in a very bad state. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you read the last sentence? They look better from when they went in. However, Jammeh stated he was going to cure the patients within 3 days. However, some of them ended up being there until I left.
That is correct.
Bari doluna ta tarajele hanfo wato men ntenganda hado ko la ngetuji.
And for how long were you there?
18 months, I will say.
Did he tell them the truth or did he lie to them?
That was not true.
So he lied. And these people, have you ever encountered any one of them who said he or she was cured of HIV/AIDS? Have you ever seen?
I have never interacted with them outside the treatment center.
Have you ever seen anyone?
I've never seen them at all.
Answer the question. The question is, have you ever seen anyone who claims to have been cured of HIV/AIDS? In fact, during this period of 18 months while you were there, many people have been discharged as having been cured, correct? I would show you some other pictures. And you would tell us whether these are in fact pictures of people taking claim to have been cured of HIV/AIDS.
Ni natalol jube isa fo mole fo nyimu molle men yalon ko iko nyimu molle men ko iko jara la fo ikendera kabo nyin kuran keso la mu HIV/AIDS.
Mr. Chair, I'll give you the reference numbers of all these pictures. They will be exhibited in a stack.
Ansulka badila chairman.
Yes.
Ibebe number kele belele bari bekala siede kaito leti.
Yes, I confirm that discharge programs were organized and they were some of the people who were declared to be cured and
Selo ko ha programu lu keta jele dame yalon ko iko mulu men kendeyata wol programu lu keta jele wol natalo lemilti.
Some of these people in these photographs have testified before this commission.
Council ka nyimo do mo koto ngol be membe ni natalol to wol dol diamuta nyin commission nyati ngola janne yela sede andiro dile.
And they claim that they still have HIV.
And yenyin te fole ko hanin ka bi HIV/AIDS kuraw nyin abelale.
Does that surprise you?
Fo e jahalle ba?
no?
Ko
Why?
tereng.
Mona ya sabo metere.
I see you smiling.
Amuita, selo muita.
Council ka
Isn't
na
it
jele be
the
muita.
case, Mr. Witness, that the whole treatment was a hoax? It was all a lie.
Kansulka e selo. Ninjara ro mu me obe. Faman ke mo nene olitika mulu filinde amunta faniale ma ko beti.
It was all a lie.
Abe mu fanialti.
Whether it was a hoax, I think it's only Jame who can tell. But yes, it has failed, it did not succeed. I really don't know the motive, why it was done, whether it was based on good intentions or it was just for drama. I really don't know.
Akama long katu ninjara ro amume obe fonene ro long foku soto balilem fo fania long atumandolo atebakela tumen na ngani akendolo soto purka ke barbitum ay akeda lilo men kan amalom bari alla bang be ana take kuleti memmantam.
And it was known that it did not work.
Alon dañ le ko amako nyin jaralo nyin amanta.
Absolutely.
Selo ko ha to nya wala.
Absolutely what?
Ko nyaaro
It did not
nyaaro.
work. My mom and my cousin are good examples.
Akamantama kadu abama ning asanawu hanimbi wol fanglu mu santi wolleti hanimbi itata jaral kuran men na jabela.
And that is for the hypertension. It didn't work.
Wala mi yele sia kuran yite o mantama.
And equally, it did not work for the HIV.
Anu hanin kabi o nyaaw nyara ni nyaaw fana amantama pour nyin HIV/AIDS kuran tiol.
Does that mean yes? I see you shaking your head. You need to register your answer on the record.
I really didn't know. The patient say it did not work, and then it did not work.
Well, here they are. They have testified before the TRRC, and none of them said they were cured of HIV.
Council ka mol fele jang diam tra nyin commission nyati no jang mote kono men diam ta ka foko e jarata le be ko man kende ay banja.
It did not work.
To selo ko ta mantama.
And during this treatment program,
Council ka nyin jaralo nyin wicho nyin kono.
have you ever seen any single one of them sat down and cancelled by Jame or any of the members of his team about what they were to expect and the impact of the treatment was going to have on them? Have you ever seen that?
Nope.
Kansuli ya nyinin ka fo wajara ro wuce yin kono fo ne ya jele jamme mu sindi sasa tolu kono purka aya marika kumolu fae menu bekela anin amari nyanta jikila munela sinin sama mune bekela sedo ko hani amoji.
What? Wait for the interpretation, then you give your answer. Otherwise, those watching may get lost as to what the answer was. They've never been cancelled in your presence. Wait for the interpretation.
Council ka amunda inani me kachandi inyala. Nimol men ndara jaralo lo inani me kachandi inyala.
Yes.
Sedo ko ha ene me kachandi de.
In your presence, was any one of them given a choice whether to undergo the treatment or not to?
Fo ide fa nyala fo an ina ya sede ala nyimol minara jaralo fo ya kuñi lan ke fanna fula landi ndama fo ni lafta ita jaralo ba ni mala fi ganata ni jaralo fo yo landi en kuñi landi yo nyamalo.
No, not in my presence.
Ako manke ate nyala o nene manka nyala.
These patients who were subjected to the HIV/AIDS treatment, where did they live during the time of the treatment?
Nyimol men yalon ko nyin kuran keso be la ka me HIV and AIDS jaralo nyi biyo nyin kono e ben sabata ni mintole.
There's a clinic, there used to be a clinic in Bakau. That's currently where they are doing the COVID center. That was where they were housed.
Ako jaral dinkira be Bakau sai kanyin COVID jankaro jara da men barwo tembo yin mulu nati wo dinkira letonu.
Were they free to go home?
Fo ina etarnar tara fambulle ban pour yese yaba.
I was not aware of their administrative details.
Akamambo ila mararo wi Kenya nyin kalama jararo wi chewkono.
Were you aware that they were kept under armed security?
Fo yin kalam dala ko itarta marole kono me alon ko maro me alon ko be sojaro le me alon ko ni la jorangol le warando tanko bunda mol me ni la jorangol be wala la maro kono.
No, I was not aware of that. But yes, I remembered Jammeh saying that they will not be allowed to leave or to move around during the treatment.
Akamambo nyin kalama de puru ka fo ibe nun sojaro la kantaro le kono menu ni jorangol bije bari ay hakilo nyin muta Jammeh be nyin fulatu mo men ko nyin molu ite sonna murum taman wala kasenyi yaldu.
Forced hospitalization.
What?
Amunta ye forcé to sindi lopitano kono.
That's what it was, wasn't it?
Amunu wala te ye forcé to landi mudala ye landi lopitano to je jaral dingira. Fo wala.
They see it in that way, yes it was.
Ni aje wala nyama tonya walem.
And how did you see it?
Te aje nyaadi dawro.
If they were informed and they approved and they accepted, then it was a different ball game altogether. But I was not privy to that.
Akona tara ye konyi mboye nyoto ka foye hanfo ke bondi kulu kalama. Oto omu kudo leti bari ofrana Kenya mambo wa kalama.
They say that they were not given a choice. So would you accept then that it was forced hospitalization?
Council kay ko sedol ko menu diam raja menu ni yen kurantol mem raja ko ye forcé to landi lopitano nyintole ma ko nyinta ya nyafula landi e ka wona dia de sey ko e mutaje forcé o kan ite be muna follow.
It depends on how they got there in the first place. If they were forced to come and join the treatment, but if they came voluntarily, that they want to undergo like the way in which my mom came and did it, then it was a different ball game altogether.
Akwa tutela nanya le bulu ninjara rokono. Natara inate fanne ko telefon le nata ke fandun di jara ro nyin kono komba ni insana mbama ni insana o manata no nyamin umukule ti bar natara fana inata nyaado nyale ma o to fana mukudo le ti de.
How would you have felt if Jammeh had told your mom and your cousin that from the day they showed up at State House, they would not go home again until they were cured of whatever ailments? How would you have felt?
Ko nyimbe kele te fan kundo fe nyaadi de ngo men na ifan ba abama aning isana koto nyin fo isana dogo fo isana koto lumene na taji State House pour ka dunyi njaralo programme nyin kono ya Jammeh na fo ko ite sela su kono fo lu ngo men na be kendal ko nyimbe kele te fan fe nyaadi le.
HIV and AIDS being a deadly and incurable disease, I would have gambled it.
Ako HIV mu jankari sangara baleti me yalon ko abuka jarano bari natara kulu lata wala nyama woto abe jare lata yenne pour ay dun jararo nyin kono.
So if he could cure the incurable, you would have submitted.
Amunta ning aketa mode me alon ko abe kuran jaral me alon ko akural jara balolem wara amunta ibe idadu na jel.
Yes indeed, because at the beginning no one knows whether it was going to work or not.
Ako ha kadu afolodula mu ma lonnu tummo fabe kala ku ti membe tamala wala fate tamala.
But eventually it became clear.
Bari nyala bango ko nyimbe na senea.
Absolutely.
Sedo ko ha to nyala.
In fact, in your statement, you gave us, you gave us a brief description of your understanding of the genesis of this treatment.
Council kay ko ila kuma kanto ya sutiandilo ya itandi naje ko itela londo to yemel lonyi jaralo nyi programme nyi na kuto me même fudi yemel lonje yew do manding sata nyejele.
Can you tell us about it?
Fo isi fem fono nyeji akoro ba.
Yes, I remembered either during the process of the treatment, after the process was underway.
Ako hakilo ya muta jararo wiche onyin kono biring adamu ta foka pare abetama kantu momenna.
There was an officer at the State House
member State House
who said that it was his grandfather or his relative in Nyomi who has discovered this treatment for HIV and AIDS.
He
said that this old man actually treated a person with AIDS in Nyomi.
And
he said when the information was given to President Jammeh, he took ownership of that medicine. And that was based on the statement of someone who was serving at the State House at that time.
State House
Tell us who that person is. This statement does not deserve confidentiality, so tell us who that person is.
Sehu Jallow, he left the armed forces as a captain, so I'll say Captain Sehu Jallow.
Amari to Sehu Jallow lete abe sojari alla nun bari bitunga be dahala sojari alla tumu menna natale hanfu afutata makamo to ikafume captain.
And could you read the last sentence in that paragraph of your statement, paragraph 19, page 6? Where you said, I am not sure whether I had it directly from Seku or someone close to him, but I am sure you can ask him the genesis of the PATP. Can you proceed with the rest of that statement, please?
As an opinionated person, I believe that President Jammeh took the treatment over from that man.
President Jammeh
took ownership of it. However, there must have been a part of the treatment which he had not done correctly, therefore it didn't work. That was my opinion.
Jammeh missed something, in your view.
Yep, it was just my opinion.
But what was certain was the treatment didn't work.
Yes, it failed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. That was the extent of our interest. All we wanted to know was that this thing was a hoax. It was false. Oh, it was true. Your opinion is it was false. Register your answer on the record.
My opinion was that it failed. It was not successful.
And because it failed, it was false.
Yes, Council.
Thank you very much. No further questions for the witness. It was a pleasure having this exchange.
Thank you, sir.
Council ko nyin ketanye se wote pour ni nyin kachake.
And before the witness takes the floor, Mr. Chair, and before the commissioners would ask questions, I'll just do some housekeeping issues and put in the documents in the record.
Yeah, you may please proceed.
Yes. Yesterday, Mr. Chair, for the witness that testified, the protected witness, the protected information sheet should be Exhibit 155A. And the stack of photographs provided by the witness should be 155B. And then each photograph is B1, B2, up to B27, I think. I have showed this witness 2 photographs in which he is present. That should be 155B1 and 155B8. And with your indulgence, Mr. Chair, we have those exhibited with the numbers I have just mentioned.
Council, your request concerning all those exhibits is granted.
And one last one, the statement of the witness, 156.
So granted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The witness is yours.
Thank you very much. And one of the photographs there, Council, you may not have answer for this question. There's the group photograph. Was that taken 3 days after the treatment where they were celebrating their being cured, or?
This was part of the discharge ceremony. If you would recall, Mr. Chair, that we showed the video of the discharge ceremony, and they're wearing the same clothing.
And they were supposedly
cured of HIV, yes.
Amazing. Fine. Thank you very much for that clarification. Thank you, Mr. Gano, for coming to testify before the commission. One quick question. Whose idea was it for your mother to go to the program? Was it yours, or your mom suggested that you go? If it's yours, you're a very daring son to take your mom to that kind of a program. But whose idea was it?
Chairman kamen nyini ka sedo bul wala nyindi ko ite fon kundingo nyimiro bora jumale bulu pour ite fon ba ma wulu ba ma pour ka samba nyin jaralo programme nyin kono fo amiralo nyin borete le bulu ba fo amiralo nyin borete fan modole bulu pour ka samba nyin atra borete le bulu o reta mu dinnete mi alon ko dinne mu dingo mi alon ko e ba ma hatila ko hati ba kele.
I was the one who relayed the information to them, and it was based on the fact that hypertension being an incurable disease, and as I said, the uncertainty, no one knows. So in the message to them, we decided just to give it a gamble and see whether it will work or not.
Sedoko ate fangole miraro ni sata bamae komo be yalo nyame hypertension musa salti mi alon ko abuka jarano sila ning monat loko ko ate be jarano lal pon komo be yalo nyame ko se keno wala se ate kenal no wala na te afa abamae ko praita ji afa na jararo nyini je.
Wonderful answer. Was it so? It was a collective decision.
Yes, sir.
One way to put it. Yeah. Thank you very much, commissioners. If you have any questions,
Commissioner, Bishop,
you have the floor, please.
Commissioner Bishop Odiko, wala binani karola.
Mr. Lamin Gano.
Okay, Mr. Lamin Gano, Zedo.
Yes, sir.
This dream declaration of having a cure of HIV/AIDS.
In Sibo ko men findita tem ko jara lo le findita pour ka ni HIV/AIDS courant jara.
I'm sure you would agree that before any declaration for any disease,
lata nyinelo ko nyilonne ko jannin kan kularobe kala ko kuran na kuro.
First, scientific proof must have been ascertained.
Luka lonna wolnya na ko nyinta ya kisi follow yana na ko nyinta ya sabatendi follow.
So where did it start? Was Was there a scientific proof that these HIV/AIDS cure was okay?
Fo nuka lonna le na silo nyin dile bam pour nyin jaralo nyin HIV/AIDS jaralo nyin pour ay tama bam fo woni wo dile bam.
So I remember the Al Jazeera reporter brought the same issue to him.
Bulata ko Al Jazeera ila reporter nyin afane o nyin kumukan samba ya lenu. That
this being a global, disease, that probably the WHO should be involved. His response simply was that if Coca-Cola is not revealing their secret, he is not going to reveal his secret to anyone.
Coca-Cola ning ate fanang yada na nyameng ning imo kulonging fo satate afanan tala njara rongin silo fanan satala ni moy.
So there was no scientific basis to the whole issue.
Olatina ning luka londo komi kamin for scientists ala kumantaje feren.
Thank you, Imam C, followed by Imam Jallo.
Imam C, wala bina nyinin karo la silang. Sedo
Lamin Gano, nubala.
Kaya Lamin Gano, abenyadi.
Kumitangana na pulardi.
Njikita nyina kwa fula kwa umwele. Kaya ha ngafula kwa umwele mufuloldi.
Ajara majofi
Kamisana si kaya ko inumbara ba kela songola kana sedandi rodi.
Bin ko namdu tobi ko
Debe min nyinin kala jang.
What I'm going to ask about here,
Yaya Jammeh ko gonduda ko e makko.
when you were with Yaya Jammeh,
Wato men ini Yaya Jammeh be nyokan.
Ndaw halal mam hudu jangde ndaw nyawdirtande.
Fo aya fo en ko ani londo soto min dole ni jaralo londo soto min dole.
did he tell you how he acquired the knowledge to cure?
I should speak in English, right?
Just
Speak in English, we will translate.
Directly.
He has never told me where he got the knowledge from.
Ako selo ko anana mafayede.
Kono meeting di wada nodi.
The meetings that he held.
Baraka meeting ol menu kenu.
Holdi rab kanko jinnabe makobe ko affaire nyaundugol balebe ko dum woni dumantin mabbe ko dum woni mecce mabbe.
He will tell them the genes that he works with. Curing people is their work.
Ako ya kaitandile ko atela wululal menia wulu
ala jinnu
ala jinnu ala wululal ka jaralo ke nyun kuolal.
Yeah, so that was where he took this knowledge from.
Ko anyo londo so waleto.
But he inherited it from the family line.
Aya keta ila family line.
Be ngure ko damgal jinnabe makko hebi o nyawndagal.
Nena ma en be kebi go balde hono be woni don be chafro.
Jinnabe ma ko hono be tolli joni. Oh, how your parents where are they now?
Ha joni be ni mburi kono ha joni be ni jogi o high blood pressure.
Akol
ni jogi o nyaw ha joni.
Akola wulula hansa de be baluru ne baran kay nyun kurang abelale.
My parents are still alive, but they are still sick. They still have this problem.
Yo lo ko be chelal.
Amin Allahumma amin.
May Allah cure them.
Ala mesra jada kende yalla.
Thank you, Imam Jallo. Please.
Witness, mintigide ko pular halay mi.
Oh, bismillah.
Imam Jallo said he's going to ask in fuller.
Jakil kam modon.
What doubts me about your statement?
Mi fala ya labbinan commission no hame wawa hebude ko hondu woni gonga e kan hala.
We want you to clarify in front of the commission what is truth, what is the truth in this whole episode.
And the English language.
You know the English language?
No jogi words in opposite to each other.
There are words which are opposite to each other in the English language.
Johnny, sawi good. Hondo ni opposite of good.
If you say good, what is the opposite of good now?
Bad.
Too
Bad.
Hondo ni opposite of angel. Opposite of angel. And the jungle no da in there is no. Hondo ni the opposite of angel.
The way you learned it in school, what is the opposite of being an angel?
Devil.
devil. Hondo wadi hadum someone was certainly ha arun kudum halde.
What has made it very difficult for you to go through or to say that word?
Joy do mi hettinima an e esa no ndadulon e goji piro fika hala kongol gotol mo yanda mi andi hida andi kon woni gonga hen.
You have listened to you struggling or agreeing with Esa about this word, and do you know what is the truth in this whole thing?
Ida way hande halande fulbe fu hande anda wonde ya jami ko ona angel.
You can tell the people in Pular today that Ya Jamme is not an angel.
Say ona angel ko hondum.
If he is not an angel, then what is he?
Yonder no one an angel, yonder no one die.
Sometimes he will be an angel, sometimes he will not be an angel. Thank you.
Don't go wrong with it. Anyway, those were, so Satan is the one that has been substituted for that?
Yes.
Satan was an angel.
No.
He was an angel before.
A fallen angel.
Okay.
He was an angel, then he became a fallen angel, and then said that.
Okay. Commissioner Kinti, you have the floor, please.
Mr. Gano.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
We learned from various witnesses that the moment the concoctions were administered on them,
Commissioner Kinte ko wani kala nyini kala kay ngani kala muta sedo dolbulu nin tembo mena nyin borol ta ya dila
they encountered various reactions.
Sakuran dole la manyal ka manyal menso de ka fatale.
Among them, in particular, the most prevalent and immediate reaction
itol kono me yalon ko kanyin manyal soro
was vomiting.
Ka fonole.
Have you witnessed any of the patients who vomited immediately after taking the concoction?
Ide fon kunni wo sedo fo ina ya sede ala ba nya lota mu yemmo jela me yalon ka bringa nyi borota fo aya min drong afonota.
Yes, sir, it was very, very common.
Sedo ko ha wo mu kuleti mendal takelaje fansinya jama.
And we were informed that the moment you vomit, you will be asked to come back and drink until you don't vomit again.
Commissioner Kinte kandu yenyi fonye janko ni fonota do e boro mi ya fonoro ka fo ne murnan ko tege na ya min ko tege.
Yes, sometimes he will say the medicine is gone out, so you need to take it again so that it can be absorbed in your system.
Selo ko ha jama soton da ni fono ta ka fo ni murunna yana boro min ko take ka to yo fono men ke wonya ye boro ni ne fintindi wala na anyante min dila ko take.
The second reaction, which sometimes takes few minutes or so, but when we say few minutes, if there are 60 or 40 people that are going to take the concoction, actually by the time they are the last one, these reactions must have been manifested. That is diarrhea.
Ko dolu bije men ya lon ko mo dolu bije men bita wayri mo talulu taworo nyonnem dolu bije men ya lon ko kol men ka kela to nya ka fatam bari na jeko jamata ka ke kono bayoti men ya lon ko wala ke muta andun abukam me bake fangne boro min kono bayosi boyi kan silanduro yo je nyaadi.
Have you also witnessed people being driven by running stomach almost immediately or within a couple of minutes after their consumption of the concoction?
Fodun yemolu jele men ya lon ko ete fanga ya sede ko briye nyim boro min doron kono bayo nyapite kan o temboto fo ete fanga yo jele nyim molu kono bang.
I did not witness it, but I believe that it was a possible reaction to the medicine. I totally believe that there was a possibility for that, just like the way they were vomiting.
Latala amanka ko nyaaya jele bari latala ko o fana mu kuleti mense keno wo molula mayla fo mela kono bayolu sede ya bari bitum o fana mu kuleti me yalon ko kulo me yalon ko ase keno molula men nyim boromi.
We were told in some instances the concoctions weren't only one type, 2 or 3 types.
Kana kinda ka fa ko ngai yenyi fonye jango nyim boro nyi amenga boro sifa kilimoti boro sifa kilimoti kilimbeje si wada fo sawa.
That's true. There are different combinations and different kinds of medicines or concoctions coming.
sero ko muto nyalti borolu dolu bije ka façon saba nyamile dolu ke façon kilingolem wolu bijele de wolu sotontale.
You told us that you also drank either 1, 2, or the combinations of the concoctions.
Yen fanya ite fon kunni wa yeboro ni ya minne membe jakasiring fo abe kila kilinne ya mi fo kilin fo fula ba no mi aran ko abe jakasiring.
Yes, I did. We took almost all of them because Jammeh will say that they are broad spectrum, that they could also cure some other ailments. So we were just trying it.
Akoha aya minne tonya katu Jammeh kanyine foko nimboro la manke ko ikakukili ndoron ne jara de bari isa min nole me ya lonka sikudo lu jara no ite mari balala wudali wole ya sabu ndolo men fanale bije fanale kaminne.
Were you also taking almost or about the same quantity as the peasants, actual peasants?
Adol fan kunni wal kamenta fo nyin kuranto fanangi iko nanga mole taba.
No, we were just taking it randomly. Sometimes our own, we just go and take it by ourselves. There was no it wasn't like structured when it comes to us, the personnel serving at the place.
Ani nteluta manke wanyade nteluta nkata mfaine dorongo bari amanke ko kamen sumang ntelu watinu watlon dorongo kananka dota nka mi mfaye.
In which case, I will presume most commonly that what you take is usually a smaller quantity than the actual peasants.
Correct, sir.
Woto mbenyu mfolako ateleka memmin wole ka doya katambi yiriko la ikamembi sasa tolula sedo fanko hawa muto nyalti.
Well, even in that case for you, before the manifestation of whatever comes at the fingertips, what reactions did you encounter in the process?
Ita fango bring alio boro mi udamuta hana manke ko kulu menu keta ingor bulkonding kulula bari munku fasonu le kakela itila cross roto bring alio nyim boro mi udamuta.
Personally, I had no reaction.
Sedo ko amang ko kundin ka ke itolula atela.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You may proceed now, Mr. Gano, to make any concluding remarks you have. Sorry, Counsel.
Just one point. The witness referred to an encounter between Jammeh and an Al Jazeera reporter.
Counsel ko kusotonta Jammeh kibar tala tema me yalonko abota Al Jazeera kibar bundal.
That is contained in Exhibit 145. Of our record.
Ila kumatari ngulu sede kumatari ngulti abe exhibit 145 wala keme tanani anilulu njaw.
Noted. Thank you. Mr. Gano, please proceed to make your concluding remarks if you have any.
Thank you very much, sir. My concluding remarks will be directed to 3 categories of people. The first one.
Ako ala baraka na kumo kumfadula mba wulila molula fana sabalela.
The first one, I'll direct it to my colleagues in the armed forces in particular and the youth in general.
Ako following abe memfala abo utilin na akafunyolu la meni alonko ebe Gambia la sojaru uniformolu kono anim funding kewolu.
The second one, I will direct it to the civil servant, the government civil servants. And the third one, I will direct it to His Excellency, the President of the Republic and the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces.
Sabanjang abo tilin na banko president lela me yalonko bi atelam Gambia nyaton koti ani sojarolu be kuntonko.
Since it is a reconciliation process,
and
the aim is to create a more united and peaceful and developed country.
Willem kabanko molu saindi nyokan kamurundi nyokan puru kambengo ni nyomuto si soto ay sabati banko kan.
I used to be a blogger during the political season of 2016 until the impasse.
Akwa kakun kibaro lu fintindi nun computer la sil kibar bunda lanu wato men jamme balanta nun 2016 wiche onyin kono.
And on my last blog I wrote, I have never committed a human right violation. I have never witnessed a human right violation. I have even not had anyone who come to me telling me about human rights violations that they have committed.
Ala safer labangoto ay nyum foje ko atekumu anene man hadamaya nyanta tinyake atekumu anene man hadamaya nyanta tinyaje atekumu monene man nata kan mensa foko nte dunta hadamaya nyanta tinyale kono ya kennale.
Somebody contacted me and said, what you are saying
mo sotonta dum meye akibaro sindi atemako ikamen foteng.
It is like a man who has been selling palm oil for 16 years and he said he has never been stained by palm oil.
Wala mnyindiko mumen abe tuluse wa fola dolu ka fa tentulo fo sanji tanni woro wo mari kanalo ka foko tuluse wala tentulo nene mamma ate balola.
But my statement was true, and I want to share that secret for the benefit of my colleagues in the armed forces as well as for the Gambian youths in general.
Now kuma kan to nyale mude wala na lafita ka janjandi ning Gambia sojarol nim funding ke ulute mabanko kan.
The day that our cadet selection results were announced at Yundum Barracks,
lumente la cadet tombo ndiro kibaro lu findita Yundum Barracks,
the announcement was done in front of a senior NCO mess.
Ye kankularo ke na sojar bunda la nyaton ko le nyatilingu la je.
Immediately the parade was dismissed.
Biring ila finto alinkalo parade abanta drong.
I sneaked into that senior NCO's mess.
Yole to dunta o nyaton ko la o dinkira nyinto je.
I knelt down, faced the Qibla and prayed to God.
Aka aknyoita kumbalim fululu kang aya nyatilin tilibulola ala jayi aya tentu.
I told God that I thank you very much for appointing me as an officer cadet of the Gambia Armed Forces.
Aka ala tentu nyinkanko wairi ya tombo ya cadet officer the Gambia la sojar bundala.
And I've entrusted my military career into your hands.
Woto na sojar ya dokuo ngachika ngadung ite Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bulokono.
I prayed for only two things.
Nduata kufulala.
One, protection.
Follow fonsi kantanga tanka.
And secondly, blessing, for him to bless my military career.
Fulanjang fo alasi kaira dinna na sojar bunda nyinto.
So that is a message I want to leave to all soldiers and to youths in general. That always remember God and thank him when he blesses you. Usually we remember God most when we are in adversity. And we forget about him when we are blessed. I believe that God answered my prayers. I had the most successful military career ever. And then it was also peaceful. I had never witnessed any human rights violations. I have never been part of it. I've never had people discussing that we are going to commit or we have committed it. So let's remember Allah when he blessed us. And let's thank him for those blessings. The second one is directed to the government civil servants. The election found me outside the country. After Jammeh left, I decided I'm coming back to Gambia to contribute to whatever is happening here. I came back in March 2017. From then until May in 2018, it was the most frustrating part of my life. When I returned to the Gambia, it coincided with an advert from the UNDP advertising for a security sector reform position with the Gambia government.
Andu tumo e palaso kankula me ya lonko wala kanto nin tankada bunda falimuti Gambia la kanto nin tankada doku bunda.
They were asking for 3 requirements.
Ye ku sabale kaninje.
1, a master's degree.
Follow eko master's degree be membulu makamoto.
Experience in security.
Memfana londi soto kanto nin tankada doku wala karola.
And service with the United Nations.
Adu menene misali kama menene doku ke United Nations la karola.
I ticked all the boxes, so I applied.
Nani bunda sabo be jabi hoto nata safero ke purka doku soto.
Few weeks later, they sent me an email
lokun danta dorong inata email kibaro kinyana
that their computer system has a problem, so they have reset it, so let me reapply again.
Ko ila computer doku jorangulu ay kole akole soto nsi safero ke koteke purka operaso nyini.
I reapplied and they emailed me again a few weeks later with the same statement.
Na safero ke koteke bari lokun danta dorong inata njabi koteke wo ku kilingo yole sayin kanye koteke.
After the 3rd time, I was invited to an exam. And that was the end of it. So later on, I heard from people who have been associated with the situation in the background that there was a senior member of the government who was part of the coalition who said that I was not in support of the coalition during the campaign and the impasse, so as a result, they don't want to work with me.
Ko nyaton kasoto ntale den mansakunda nyin kono me nyin foko wato men tebedo ko lakana hanfo jamme balanta wato men man la itulukan o dalilo le asabu man lafi purunte ni taranyokan. That
vacancy was never filled.
Wo palaso mo nena mankeje.
A few months later,
kardanta wokola
a United States agency advertised a position for a security advisor.
United States, well, America, inata bunda kankula ko isulata yamar la kanton in tankadala karola.
I applied and I was successful.
And
they informed me that they are waiting for confirmation from Washington. After a few weeks, I was informed that they have given the position to the person who came second. And the reason was that because I was associated with Jame, they are afraid that I might have been involved in some shady things.
Ko woto isilantale ko asekeno wairi ntene nja mekatata nyola satara ntefana ndabe kuodolu konole no menu keta kuno ringolti.
And it will be very embarrassing for them, for their personnel, to be dragged into a TRRC or a court procedure.
Woto abekele telamuli maloleti purusinin samo yena ila lukula soto meya lonko isina umari kumandi pura na lo TRRC nyatilimula.
So I said to myself, if I cannot work for my government and I cannot work for international organizations